What's up YouTube, here is Dave or DBEE. Welcome back again to another video. So I haven't uploaded in a while. I apologize for that. Again, just been busy with work, busy with life. But whenever I have the chance to make videos, which is usually on my days off, I am here. So, hope you guys have been doing okay. Hopefully it's been doing well. Welcome to a video about the top 5 advice/tips I will give to newer players joining SMITE in 2022. I'm going to give you 5 tips that aren't some bullshit tips that like, oh, change certain settings or play at this resolution or, I don't know, follow this specific build and you will get better. I'm going to give you generalized tips that you just have to think about and you just have to, you don't have to, but this is my take and something I would suggest you should try to implement to whenever you play. I'm going to try to break them down, give you my point of view on them, and just in general just discuss this because these might be obvious things to hear, but maybe you don't fully understand what is meant by this. I'm also going to give you very quickly 3 bonus tips essentially, which are like the most obvious things ever, but people for whatever reason don't tend to follow them. Watch YouTube guides, play with friends, or find people just to play with, and playtime. These are the most obvious tips. These are the 3 bonus tips, by the way, that many people just either neglect or just, I don't know. YouTube videos, you will not get all the knowledge by yourself. You need to watch other people explain it for you. You need to watch other people teach you it. It's very difficult to learn this game entirely by yourself. It's, I would say, nearly impossible to learn the whole game and every single little detail and become a high-end player without getting taught by someone. Playtime, you're not becoming a GM overnight. Simply, you're not becoming a GM overnight. That's you won't watch 1 or 2 videos. You won't. Honestly, you might not even ever reach GM before 2,000 hours in this game. I'm gonna be very, very honest with you guys. I know people who have nearly 2,000 hours in this game and they're a mid-gold player at best. I know people who have 500 hours in this game and they're nothing better than a bronze 5 player. That is just the reality. You will need a lot of dedication to this game, unless you're maybe just a natural at MOBAs and you just find it easy. But if a newcomer to this scene, this is a genre that requires time. You're going to hate and love the process at the same time. Sorry about that. But that is what makes MOBAs, in my opinion, fun. Because it's literally just like a toxic relationship. You hate it with every ounce of your being because either this is unbalanced or that is broken, but you always come back to it. And playing with friends makes the process way more enjoyable. You don't get to deal with randoms. You get to improve with your friends at the same time. You get to get taught by better friends or better people you know and just enjoy easier games because you are not depending on the luck of the draw with your teammates. You're playing with a better person, so at least, you know, if things go to shit and you go 3-20, you have someone to carry you, which makes the process a lot less. And you have someone just telling you like, yo, it's gonna be okay, wait till late game, do this, do that. A little bit of reassurance, basically. Okay, now to the actual 5 tips that as a new player you really need to be starting to get aware of, starting to learn, and just starting to notice. And this is my take, by the way. First, which I think is the most underrated one, is God knowledge. That doesn't mean you know the god's name. It doesn't mean that you know his lore or whatever. You simply need to know every god's abilities in the game. This will come with playtime. I'm not telling you to go and learn every abilities. I'm not telling you to go into jungle practice and see and figure out every... Oops, sorry. I just moved my mic. Figure out every god's abilities. But just be aware of what they are doing. If you're playing against a Hebo, you're going to notice a pattern. He uses his tree to knock you up, that little like splash from the earth. Then he goes quickly towards you with his 2 with that carpet. So, oh, he goes faster to you. Okay, that increases his movement speed. Then he uses his 1 to damage you and then he ults you. Okay, that's how I died. Okay, that's roughly his combo. You see what I'm trying to get at? You build an understanding, you build a pattern. You know, okay, if I avoid Hebo's tree now, I'm in a much safer spot. I'm not knocked up in the air. The more you understand what abilities do, the more you can play around them, basically. The more you know what's happening. Because one thing I've played with a lot of new friends over the past 2 years specifically, a lot of new people, and the biggest thing that annoyed them was, how did I die? That's genuinely what they told me. This is bullshit. How did I die? The truth is, you just don't know the other god's abilities, which I understand you're a newer player, not you're supposed to. But what I tell to them is just notice what kills you. Just try to pay attention how you die. Dash in the future will simply just, I would try to avoid that. You create a plan. You're like, okay, I'm gonna bait out this ability. I'm gonna avoid his ult. I'm gonna buy beads against his ult, or I'm gonna buy sanctuary against his ult, or maybe I need a shell here. Now you're beginning to understand what each god does, and you're more comfortable. You're not getting frustrated because some bullshit kills you. You know what's happening. And this there, in hindsight, will also make you improve as a player because you're not jumping into new gods blindly. You already know their kit. So then you're basically cherry picking your playstyle. This will come to a later tip down the line, but that's all I'm going to leave for God's knowledge. That's my first tip. You just need to slowly. You don't need instantly. It's not going to happen instantly. This game has way too many gods, way too many abilities, way too many passives to learn. Take your time and just slowly gather the knowledge, so you know what's happening. Basically, that's what I'm trying to get at. Next up, this tip is not specifically for like someone who's under level 30. But the second you start coming slightly into the rank scene and slightly past level 30 is when like people are beginning to like play the game actually to some degree. You need a slight meta awareness. You just need to, like, even if it's as brief as you literally Google every 3 months current SMITE meta, and you roughly see, you just glimpse on it. That way you know if your god is viable. That way you know if your god isn't viable, why you're losing so many games. But just because your god's not viable doesn't mean you need to avoid him in casuals. Still play him, still enjoy them, but just understand who is the danger currently. Now you know what each god does. Now you need to figure out who is currently the biggest threat, or most unbalanced god, most broken god. Who's a god that doesn't see any play. You just need to be aware of the meta. You don't need to study it. You don't need to analyze it. You don't need to do anything. Just be aware of it. Like I said, even if you literally Google SMITE tier list, current SMITE tier list, skim through it. Okay, these gods are strong, this split. These gods are not that good. Okay, my god is average, so I should be doing fine in general. At the same time, don't use this as a blaming horse, as a tool just to be like, oh my god's not meta, that's why I'm losing. Figure out what the meta is, roughly, and just be aware of it. So you understand why certain gods are maybe shredding through you. Maybe there's a Freya buff and she's absolutely broken. You're losing every single game to a Freya. Nothing really you can do about it as no player. You're okay, Freya, it's going to be a really rough game. Let's try a little bit harder. That's the kind of approach I'm trying to, I guess, spread. Okay. Tip number 3. Set yourself small goals. I'm going to use myself. I'm going to use like an anecdotal example. Season 4, I believe, I started playing ranked. I got gold. That's it. That's what I got. Season 4, I got gold. I'm like, okay. Next season, we're gonna try harder. Next season, I got plat. Awesome. Cool. Small goal. 1 rank. That's all I did. 1 rank. Awesome. Next season, diamond. Next season, masters. And so on. That's literally what I did. Every season I looked at my goal as, okay, I'm just gonna try to improve 1 rank at a time. I'm not going from gold to masters or GM. That's because that's not happening. But I just set myself a small goal. Same thing when I'm mastering gods. I'm like, okay, I might focus on mages for a few weeks. Okay, fair enough. I'll get to play a mages for a while. Okay, maybe now I need to focus on some guardians. I need some more guardians in my arsenal. Okay, that's a goal for now. These are small goals that will also go hand in hand with your playtime. And you will see improvements through this because you're not, yes, obviously play for fun blindly with your friends. That's also the case. Troll, feed, whatever in your games when you're playing with your friends. Have fun. But then when you're trying to actually genuinely improve, set those small goals. Be like, okay, guys, let's try. Win the 10 games in a next 10 games in a row. That's a pretty difficult task, I would say, for a new player, because you are playing with probably also newer players. And you're like, okay, we won 8 out of 10. Okay, let's maybe just bump it down and now just do 8 games and try to repeat this constantly until we can then win 9 games in a row. It's something so simple, yet it just keeps you engaged in the game. That was for me specifically with ranked, going up 1 rank every season. Because, like I said, I wasn't good at all at this game when I started. I was as shit as every Bronze 5 player when I started. I used to play bots back in 2013. That's how, like, shit I was. We used to play bots, like, at the very start when we, like, level 1 or 2s, like, account-wise. We used to play bots. That's literally what we did. They were like, okay, we're going to try PvP now. We tried a PvP. We got slaughtered. We fed our brains out. We were shit, but we stuck to it. And now, fucking couple of years later, I'm chilling here and I'm okay at the game. I can give some advice to newer players. I can have fun with the game. I can talk about the game pretty enough in depth. So that is tip number 3, which is set yourself small goals. Tip number 4, pick your poison, but don't ignore other gods. My biggest mistake is one-trick ponies. There's nothing wrong with it. Mistake, I guess pet peeve. I just don't like people who are deliberately one-trick ponies and they refuse to play other gods. I don't care if you're a one-trick pony, but you at least attempt to play other gods. I have a friend who sucks at every role apart from Guardians. But he's a really solid Guardian player, and that's what he's good at, and that's what he plays in Ranked, and that's what he's fine with playing in Ranked. But the other roles, when he plays with us, because we're higher level, he struggles. But it is what it is. He's a newer player, he will eventually improve, and he will eventually overcome that, and he'll eventually learn other roles better. That doesn't mean he doesn't play the other roles. He has a few mages, because he played so long, that he actually is decent at now. He has a few mages that he knows how to play well, he knows how to do damage with them, he knows how to support the team with the mages, because they're more utility mages, but still. He has a few assassins in his kit, he has a bunch of warriors in his kits now. Not all of them, but he still mains Guardians. This tip in general goes with god knowledge, meta awareness, and playtime. This is all interlinked basically. This is where you pick your playstyle. You see what you like, what you dislike. There's no point playing a role that you just don't like. I'm not saying when you roll Conquest and you don't get the role you like, just to, I don't know, quit the game, uninstall the game, throw the game, and go into the next match so you can have your role. Play, experiment, have fun, but also find your playstyle. Maybe you like more defensive characters. So you're, okay, maybe I'm going to go for a Khepri or like a Zeus type gods. Or maybe, oh nah man, I really like aggression. So you're like, fuck it, I'm going to play Erlang, I'm going to play Bastet, I'm going to play Cerberus, I'm going to play Yorm. Maybe you're going to look for that. Maybe you really just feel more comfortable for whatever reason with physical gods instead of magical gods. Maybe you feel you do more damage with crit, and that's why you just stick to hunters and stick to assassins. That's okay. Just experiment with other gods in your spare time. Good examples of this. I'm going to give you one good example. I'm going to give you one bad example. So a friend of mine, he is really good with a niche selection of gods. He can play an Awilix, he can play a Jingwei, a Neats, he can play a Persephone incredibly well. I'm talking like high level, low masters level of gameplay. You throw him any other god, he becomes like a gold 5 player, gold 3 player. He still plays other gods, he's still willing to improve, he's still willing to have fun, he still mastered them. But it shows you that when he has his go-to gods that are really, really good in his pants, but he also experiments with other gods. Now, it's another example of a friend. This is a bad example. All he did is main Loki. I'm not taking the piss. All he did is main Loki. All he did. Just mains Loki. Loki got reworked. He no longer likes the game. He no longer plays the game. He's no longer good at the game. Kind of sad to see, just because he only played one god. That's all he did. Only play Loki, got reworked, stopped playing. I don't want to see that, to be honest. Like, I personally wouldn't like people quitting the game specifically over a rework. I understand it's frustrating that your favorite god changes, but everything in life changes. You just have to basically deal with it and adapt, or at least try. But it sucks to see someone who was actually decent at the game with that one god, but he just stopped playing and he can't play anymore because he just sucks with him now because of the rework. I understand it's not entirely his fault, but because the one thing got taken away from him, he's no longer good. He went from like a plat level Loki player to just back to bronze because he literally has no clue how to play any other god to a decent level. What can I say, however? That's kind of sad to hear, to be honest. Now on to tip number 5. This will be an interesting one. Comment below if you agree with me or not. Play selfish, okay? Listen carefully what I'm saying. Play selfish, but around your team. This doesn't mean you're ignoring the team. This doesn't mean you don't engage with team fights. But you have to prioritize yourself. You're in control of that character, and that character has to perform as best as possible so you have the chances of winning. Because you cannot like rely, that's the wrong wording you say, but what I'm trying to get at basically is your team is there in a way for you, but that's also how they are supposed to think towards you. I think that that's how it makes the game a lot more, not better, but if you know, at least that's how I view every pro player playing the game. They always play and they do their own thing, and then occasionally work together to achieve another goal. I always see pro supports farming all the neutral XP camps just to benefit themselves for XP. For example, I see pro junglers invading and trying to get as much XP and stealing it from the other enemy, basically just to gain for themselves. If you're a hunter, you need to farm, for example. You need to farm, you need to focus on that, you need to get that crit online, you need to get your build online. If you're an assassin, you need to prioritize on your role, you need to prioritize on your ganks, your farm, and your map awareness. As a support, you need to prioritize on your goals. You need to make sure you're warding, you need to make sure you're aggressive, you're pushy, you're making sure the enemy's uncomfortable. This doesn't mean if there's a fight at 30 minutes at Fire Giant and you're the hunter and you're still chilling in duo. No, buddy. You better get your ass to that team fight. But if it's 5 minutes in the game, and for some reason your support is attacking their red camp alone, it's not your fault that he dies there. You're in lane farming. That's your bro. That's your job. It's I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but that's no, amigo. That's not how the game plays. So this is what I'm trying to get at. You gotta know what your role is, and you gotta focus on yourself, and you need to focus what's important for you to achieve that goal, basically. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully you kind of understand what I'm trying to get at here. This doesn't mean you ignore team fights, this doesn't mean you ignore callouts, but you need to assess the situation. If there's a full wave in your lane, and your support tells you to go get one harpy, and ignore that wave, no, fucking take the wave. Maybe then go for the harpy. You need to understand what benefits you the most at the situation. This also doesn't mean you let your ego take over and be like, okay, I'm not listening to everyone, fuck this, I know what I'm doing. You need to just try to assess the situation to see what is currently the best for everyone. More specifically for you. If someone does a call out at fucking I don't know, 12 minutes in the game. Let's do Gold Fury. All of them are dead. All of you are full HP. Probably a good call out, just saying. But anyhow, hopefully you guys enjoyed these tips, these 5 main tips and 3 bonus tips. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry for a lengthy video, but I haven't done a video in a while and I just wanted to basically ramble a little bit. So, thank you guys for watching. It was your boy DB. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Peace out. Thanks for watching and goodbye.